Oh, good morning, my Tuesday King family. Happy Friday to you. Gold's getting crushed. What a terrible baseball picking I did yesterday. It happens. It always happens. Then I fight back with vengeance. Just 1 second. All right. So, baseball was basically sucky yesterday. I don't know. It's really weird. My methods are, bet on skeins, bet on the aces, bet on that, and they normally win, but every once in a while they lose. And we're running into that a little bit. We lost with Schittler for the Yankees. Chris Sale, Skeins. I mean, the Reds pitcher. There's really nothing you can do. You just bet the game as you see fit, and you just be consistent with it. We buy gold. We just keep buying it. We know it's the right play. We know betting on Chris Sale and Skeins is the right play. They're normally going to win, and occasionally they lose. So if we look yesterday, we did hit our free pick. At least I was happy for that one. Philadelphia wins, and I explained it. And then we're going to walk through today's games. Now, we also have Mark McGwire was on yesterday, and this should relieve a lot of the stress of the gold. We know gold's going way up, but then we see the bullshit today, and we go, what the fuck? All right, let's do one thing at a time. So let's go baseball. Philly won 6-4. Our lone winner, Baltimore and Boston. We played Boston there. And where are my pitching things? I wrote the pitchers down. Oh, here they are. So Baltimore's pitcher Rogers had lost 7 in a row. So we played Boston. No, Baltimore won 8-2. Boston didn't hit them. Boston's pitcher was no picnic either. So we kind of have to look at the whole view. Again, I problem solve why I win, and I problem solve why I lose. Because I don't want to lose again. So the problem with Boston's pitcher, he kind of sucks. Baltimore's pitcher sucked. Of the two, Boston's pitcher sucked more than the Baltimore pitcher. So we bet against Rogers, and he wins 8-2. A logical bet. But when we look at the Boston pitcher, wait a minute, we can't trust the Boston pitcher either. And even the total was no good. It was 8-2, but the total was 11. we would have lost going over. So it was a real bad play any way you look at it. The Yanks win 2-1. We don't play that game. Rodin's starting to look good. But we don't play it. It's 2-1. Cleveland plays a lot of low-scoring games. They got a pretty good bullpen. They don't hit that much. The Yankees don't have Aaron Judge. The 49ers 12, Milwaukee 9. We played Milwaukee there. You're not expecting a 12-9 game. When we look at the box score, we look at the pitchers. I think we're betting Hauser comes in with his 5.49 ERA, gives up 5 hits, 3 runs. So we got what we thought in 4 innings. Milwaukee Crow with the 5.94. That I don't know if he was the starter we saw. Maybe he was. Were we betting against Hauser? Not really. He's not on the list. But Crow, I don't know if he's a bullpen guy. He pitched 2 innings, 70 pitches in 2 innings. Yeah, he had 2 walks, 9 hits, 6 runs. We bet against Hauser, but we didn't get a good pitcher in Milwaukee and Crow. Another, mistake there. Toronto 7, Atlanta 2. What can we do? Chris Sale doesn't give up 7 runs. He gave up 3 runs, and then they scored 4 in the bottom of the top of the 9th. So Sale against Flaherty. Flaherty pitches 1 in the 10th innings, gives up a hit, a walk, 3.75 ERA, but he's a bullpen guy. So this is the problem with the bullpen. Then you got 2.45 for 3 innings. You got 2.28 for an inning, 6.08 for an inning, 2.62 for 2/3 of an inning, and then the 1 1/3 with the guy with the Varlin with the 0.28 ERA. So Toronto's bullpen, except for this Hoffman, is pretty good. So these bullpen days, I mean, you're facing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitchers. How do you analyze this? So we don't. We just take Sale. Sale pitched 108 pitches in 5 2/3 innings, gives up 10 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 2.23 ERA. What are you supposed to do with this? Then their bullpen 2.63, 1.54, and then they go, and this always blows my mind. 9th inning, Lopez with a 4.21 ERA. Why didn't you pitch the guy with the 1.54 ERA 2 innings? Or the guy with the 2.63 2 innings and then go to the 1.54? No, we go to the 4.21 guy who gives up 5 hits and 4 runs. And so the game was 3-2. And then he decides to make it 4 runs in the 9th, so it's 7-2. 3-2, maybe we had a chance. We'll recap everything in a minute. KC, Minnesota, we don't play. Oakland and Chicago, we kind of get screwed. We play it perfectly. We have it figured out. We played the no-hitter guy. And he played good, Jen, 2.74 ERA, 6 innings, gives up 2 hits and 1 run, 8 strikeouts. We're perfect until the 9th inning. And then we go to a 4.21 closer. Bullpen guy gives up 5 hits on 4 runs. And there goes the game that we're winning 6-3. We now lose 7-6. The Cubs, Iomega, we have it perfectly, 4.74 ERA, 6 innings, 6 hits, 6 runs. Perfect. Exactly. 6 runs. We give up 1. We're winning 6-1. And then the 9th inning. So we're winning 1-0, 4-0, 4-1, 6-1, 6-3. And then in the bottom of the 9th, you bring in a pig closer. What are you thinking What are you thinking bringing in Kunkel to pitch the ninth inning with the 6-3 lead? And then you got Medina with the 2-7-0. Why didn't he pitch? So you basically, both of them kind of sucked. So you blow a 6-3 lead. That's just the way the day was. That bet was perfect. Jin against Iomega, and we had it all pegged. Iomega on a 4-game losing streak. Well, it's the team streak. So when Iomega's pitching, they lost 4 in a row. Now they won it. Pittsburgh, Houston, we go over in this game. So we had Oakland there. We have Pittsburgh over 8.5, 5-1. Pitt wins. What did we have here? What was our point? Jeffrey Jones for Pittsburgh, 4.82 ERA, gives up 4 hits and no runs. Mladzinski, who's another starter with a 3.66, 4 hits, 1 run. So Houston scores a whopping 1 run on them. Pittsburgh, Tang with the 3.06 gives up 7 hits and 5 runs in 5 innings. And their bullpen doesn't give up. And this was what blows my mind. Here's the guy, Abreu in the bullpen, a 7.52 ERA, 1 inning, no runs, no hits. The other guy with the 3.20 gives up a hit. So here's a case with the 7.52 doesn't give up anything. And in our other games, the guy comes in with a 4 ERA and he gives up 4 runs. It's just the way the day went. So Pittsburgh, we need them over 8.5. They win 5-1. What the fuck? And Pittsburgh hit, so I couldn't believe that score. And then the last game, we take the Dodgers with Wroblewski, who has a Wroblewski with a 2.62 ERA, 6 innings, gives up 6 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks. We're fine. He pitched 84 pitches, so why are you pulling him? Then we've got in the 7th, the guy pitches the 7th inning, 2.29, that's fine, 1 hit, no runs. And then Klein comes in the 8th inning and gives up a 2-run homer with a 2.45 ERA. Vesia with a 2.14 gives up in 2 innings and 2/10 of an inning. So he closes out the 8th. And then we lose in the 9th. Our closer, T. Scott, with a 2.42 ERA, gives up a home run to lose the game. Arizona, Nelson pitches with the 4.60 ERA, 5 hits, gives up 2 runs. And then that's it. And they don't score in the 8th or 9th. So that's it yesterday. You just scratch your head. You just like, what the fuck? I don't have a lot of games today, partly because I'm a little shell-shocked, partly because there's one streak which is bet against who are the Mets? San Diego, I believe. So let's see. Yeah, San Diego's on a 5-game losing streak. So this is your free pick. Take the Mets. 2 units. Scott with a 3 ERA against King with the 3.18. Total of 7. So we're just going to take the Mets. They get 112 on the losing streak. Now, again, these streaks have been snapping all over the. That's it. Every other team's got a 1 or a 2. So no real streaks. This is the only one I could find. This is the best game I could find to give you is take the Mets. I don't have pitchers. They all just pitched. So let's walk through this, see what the fuck's going on. The 49ers are at the Bears. The Bears are minus 167. The Niners have been hitting lately. The Bears have not been hitting lately. St. Louis, they didn't hit. And then yesterday, they didn't hit. We got Robbie Ray 4.50 against Cabrera with the 4 ERA. Let's just check what's going on with these guys. Robbie Ray they won the last 2. He seems to only pitch 4 innings, but he's a starter. He'll go 4 innings, but he pitches 96 pitches in 4 innings, 92 and 4, 84 and 4, 95, 102 and 6. Robbie Ray, he just a lot of foul balls, I guess. Not a lot of walk. Well, he had 7 walks in one game, 4, but mostly 2 walks. Who got 7? The White Sox beat. They won 8-5 against the Sox. He gives up 7 walks and 92 pitches, 2 hits, 4 runs, 4. So he does give up runs, Robbie Ray. And then we get to Cabrera with the 4 ERA. And no streak for Cabrera. He's gone 3 innings, gives up 4 runs. 4 innings, gives up 3. 5 innings, gives up 5. Gives up 3, 3, 5, 3. This guy, the last gave up 3, 3, 5, 3, 3, 5, 3, 4. This guy is very hittable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, giving up at least 3 runs. So now you're saying, well, let's go over, but the total on the game's 11. I don't know. The Niners have been hitting, but the Cubs have not. I assume this is the weather blowing out. That's why it's an 11. The weather blows in, and that's why it's a 7. I don't know how strong the fucking wind is at Wrigley Field. 11 is just, it's a very high total. They'll probably get over because these 2 pitchers suck, but I don't want to play over 11 the way the Cubs are hitting. So we're going to leave this game alone. And this is our problem today. There's a lot of games that we just don't like, so we're not going to force. Ric Flair is going for Seattle at Detroit. Seattle's won 7.5 against Framber Valdez, who's pretty pathetic lately. Now the Tigers got hot. They got 2 hitters back. They swept Tampa. Have an off day. What do we do now? Ric Flair's pitching pretty good. Let's take a look at Rick. One lost, 1-1-1. So he's 4-1 his last 5. Well, the team is. He's gone 104 pitches, mostly in the 90s. 7 innings, 2 hit shutout. 4 innings, 6 hits, gave up 4 runs. 6 innings, 3 hit shutout. 6 innings, 4 hit 2. 6 innings, 1 hitter shutout. 6 innings. So he had a bad streak where he gave up 7 and 6 runs. And then it's been 0-2-0-4-0. So it looks like he's back. The White Sox 6-1. Atlanta, he won 3-1. He struggled with, of all teams, Kansas City and St. Louis. What do we do here? Let's look at Framber Valdez. Keep in mind the total in this game is 7.5. With the Framber. The Tigers have lost the last 5 with Valdez, so I got to add him to the list. The question is the list worth listening? In other words, are we over pursuing this pitching streak, or are we not? So the last 5 times he lost, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 hits, 1 run, 5 hits, 4 runs, 5 hits, 2 runs, 9 hits, 10 runs. And he goes, well, except for the 9 hitter, he goes about 90 pitches, about 5 or 6 innings. This was the game, I think, again, who was it against? Baltimore, where he pitches 6 innings. No, this isn't the game. Where's the game? He pitched 65 pitches and they pulled him. Why isn't that in here? June 5th. Huh. There was a game he pitched. He pitched 6 innings or 7 innings. I think it must be this one, but it makes no sense. Against Baltimore, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, but he didn't pitch 92 pitches. He pitched 65. So now I don't know what this pitch count is. Anyway, so he pitched good, but he gave up. So he's given up last 5, 10 runs, 2 runs, 4 runs, 1 run, 4 runs. So he will give up a few runs. Seattle's nobody's on a win streak. Let's see what Seattle did their last game, which I think was the 3rd. I'm trying to see if they're hitting or not. They lost 7-1 to the Jets's. So they were at home losing to the Jets. Namath pitched that day. And now they travel to Detroit, which is a 4-hour flight. Because it's longer than Vegas, and Vegas is 4 hours. It's probably a 5-hour flight because they're north and they got to come, north to north. So a little tired, but Ric Flair probably already came, right? Total on the game, 7.5. So Seattle's 117, 7.5. Ric Flair's pitching pretty good, and Valdez once in a while pitches good. Their last game they lost 7-1. Seattle, Detroit swept Tampa. This is the problem I'm having today. I can't really go over with Ric Flair on the mound, right? 3-4-7, but we know he's just had a bad couple of games, and then he's been sharp the last 4 or 5. Valdez has lost his last 5. Every time I try to figure out Detroit, I get fucked. We had Tampa with their ace. They lost. We had the game either over or under. I think we were over, and it went under with 2 bad pitchers. So what's been happening is the bad pitcher with the 5 ERA is throwing a shutout. They're throwing a 6-hit shutout, a 6-inning shutout. And the Chris Sales and the Scanes and the Cincinnati pitcher are giving up a bunch of runs. Well, they're getting like 4 innings with 95 pitches. So what's happening? We're in the bizarro world where the aces are struggling and the guys with the 5-0s are pitching well. This is just gambling. This is just baseball. This is just what happens. You must stay consistent with your values of how we bet. We've been very successful half of April and the whole month of May. So are they getting a little tired? Probably. This is the problem playing every day. So we're going to try. Normally, I think this is a Ric Flair day. The Tigers, it's a righty. I don't know. Valdez is on a 5-game losing streak. So I don't know what to do here. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. It's a real tough one. I mean, Valdez 5-game losing streak. So we go with Ric Flair. Flair's pitching better. Detroit's hot. Against Tampa, they swept. They're at home, so they can steal the signs easier. It's really tough what to do here. The total is 7.5. Do we go over? Detroit's hitting the ball, but are they going to hit Ric Flair? And that's my whole thesis. Can they hit the ace, who's starting to pitch like he does? So this is the torment that is happening today. I got a lot of these games that I'm like, huh? The White Sox at Philly, we've been hot on the Phillies. We locked them, won. We bet them yesterday as your free play. They won. So the Phillies are doing good for us. They're minus 172, 8.5. We got AK for the White Sox, Anthony K. And Anthony K's won 5 in a row. I'll have to put that down there. So far, I got all losers. So here goes K with the winner. 5-game win streak. He's given up 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 2 runs, 1 run. He had a 1-hitter again in 5 innings against Seattle. So very strong, this K, the last 5. And he's won them all, or the White Sox have won them all. And here's Luzardio for the Phillies. Jesus, Luzardio. Maybe he's Jesus. No streak for Jesus. 5 innings, 2 run, and 6 innings, a shutout. 6 innings, 2, 6 innings, 0. So he's had 2 shutouts and two things. And then he pitched 3 innings and gave up 6 runs. He had 1 bad game. The second game against the Cubbies, he gave up 12 hits and 9 runs in 5 innings. And why was he in there for that? That's terrible management. When the guy's on pitching, when the guy's off, get him the fuck out. You can't just lose a game. And he had 1 other bad game against Colorado where he pitched 3 innings and gave up 6 hits and 6 runs. Otherwise, he's been lights out. So he doesn't really have a 4 ERA. He does because he gave up 9 runs in 1 game and 6. But if you take the other 4, 6, 7, take 7 other games, it's 1-0-2, 0-2, 0-2. The last 4 are 0-2, 0-2. So we've got pretty low scoring game here. Total's 8.5. K, what does he do? 1 run, 2. Yeah, this looks like I don't want to really bet against K. Jesus Christ. Now, the problem with this is, see, superficially, you look at Luzardio with the 4.30. I'm going to bet it over, but no, he doesn't have that. And K, so theoretically, you'd bet K, but Luzardio has been pitching well. Philly's hot. Now, here's where the gist comes in. These guys might pitch lights out for 6 innings, and then here come the bullpen. And then the bullpen gives up 4 runs. And you get fucked on your under or you get your over. And this is what's killing. This is what it's so hard to bet on is if I'm betting K against Luzardio, probably low scoring, but what am I going to do with the bullpen? What am I going to do when they get to 90 pitches in 4 or 5 innings? And that's the problem. So again, I'm going to make the bet. This is why I don't bet a lot of units. I go 2 units like Chris Sale yesterday. It's like you can't, you love the game, but you can't go 5 units because you can't trust the manager and you can't trust the bullpen. And then even though the other guy, like here, Luzardio's a 4.3 ERA, could just as easily shut him out. And K could just as easily shut out the Phillies. And the Phillies haven't really been hitting lately. Even though we're winning with them, we're winning like 2-1. So you have that. And then it becomes the bullpen. And there's too many minor leaguers in the bullpens of all these teams to really trust them. So that's what you got there. Boston goes to the Yankees. I guess I know what's going to be on Saturday night and Sunday night baseball. The Yankees minus 138.8. Just to go over, Philadelphia's 172, 8.5. In that game. And I would not take Luzardio minus 172. K's won his last 5. Now, they might win it, but it's hard to look at it. Anyway, so Boston Yankees minus 138.8. We got Sonny Gray, who's been around, who's pitching pretty good against Carl Weathers with the 3.52, Gray with the 3.06. Let's take a look. Sonny Gray's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 5-1 his last 6. Well, let's say Boston's won 5-1. Now Boston just got killed by Baltimore. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, shutout, 2 innings. I don't know what happened there. 1 run. So his last 6 are 1-0-1, 1-3-1. So Sonny Gray's pitching pretty well, and they've won most of them. And he's been winning pretty good. The Yankees, Carl Weathers, 3.52. He's 5-2 his last 7. Some brutal games here. His last 5. 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings, 5 runs, 7 innings, shutout, 6 innings, 5 runs. Whoa, what is this guy? He gives up 5 runs to Oakland and Toronto, and he shuts out Tampa, who we saw is not hitting against Detroit, and then a 2-runner and a 3-runner, Baltimore, again, both against Baltimore. See, here, you can't just look at it. They beat Baltimore 9-4, and then he loses to Baltimore 3-2. So which guy am I getting? The guy who gave up 5 runs to Toronto, or the guy who gave up 5 runs to Oakland, or the guy that shut out Tampa? This is what we don't like. We know that Judge is not playing, and we know they've been playing pretty low-scoring games. Baltimore, they pitched well yesterday. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm at Boston. Baltimore's the next game. So Sonny Gray pitching well. They don't have Judge. Ryan Weathers, we don't know what we're getting. Is it a shutout, or is he giving up 5 runs? So, again, very difficult. So this is a very tough day, but maybe I'll do better than yesterday. Yesterday's a fluke. It's the worst day. I've been doing this since April. I never had a day that I was like, the worst was like 1 under 500. So we got that out of our system. Too many streaks. I'm playing pitcher streaks. I lost a game playing Iomega with the 4-game Rogers, Baltimore, 7-game losing streak. No, yeah, he broke that yesterday. All right. Baltimore, Toronto. Toronto minus 144, 8.5. B. Young, 335 for Baltimore. Yashevitz, a 219 for Toronto. Last game, he did not show up. Brandon Young for Baltimore. And Brandon Young's won 5 of his last 5. So I'm only using this streak as a guide. I'm not going to just blindly say, oh, he's won 5 in a row, let's bet him. It's just too tricky. But if we look at Young, the last 5 games, he's given up 3 runs, 2, 2, 2, 2. Before that, he had one bad game where he gave up 10 runs in 4 innings. And again, why is the manager leaving him out there like that? That was against Houston. They beat Miami, the Yankees, Washington, Detroit, and Toronto. Detroit really doesn't count. They don't have, they had all the guys injured, so they got 2 of them back. Actually, 1. Carpenter's pretty bad, but this leadoff hitter, Chico Santana, whatever his name is, they've been hitting. The catcher's been hitting. And my only response is just pitch around these guys. After that, they don't have any hitting. You keep pitching to the guys that are hot, just pitch around them, because their last 5 can't hit 200. Incredibly bad management. All right. So, again, on a 5-game win streak is Young and very little runs. Who are we playing? We're playing Toronto. Now, Yashevitz with the 2.19 ERA. No streak. He's given up 1 run, 5-0-2-0-1-0. So he had one bad outing against Miami. They lost 8-2. 6 innings. He gives up 5 hits, 5 runs, 98 pitches. Otherwise, it's shutout city. So do we go to the norm and say, well, he's going to pitch well. Young's hot. Baltimore, they're not going to hit this guy. Toronto probably is going to have a struggle here. So let's do this. And it's funny, some days you bet the overs and every score is a 20. And then someday, like yesterday I had a lot of teams, but then you play the unders and they're all high scoring, or you play the overs and they're all 2-1 games. It's funny how the whole day is like that. Okay, so that's that. So it's a tough matchup. Young on a 5-game winning streak. Yashevitz with the 2.19, who had one bad game. So you figure at home, he'll be good. Young's been hot. So it's hard to play a team here. So I'm going to play the total. Tampa Bay, Miami. Tampa Bay sucks, but they haven't. They just got swept by the Tigers. I mean, how pathetic. Now, 2 of their pitchers sucked. Their third pitcher was pretty good and gave up 7 runs to the Tigers. That's why I'm really leery with the Tigers here, because they're starting to hit and their pitching is good, but Tampa didn't hit at all, and Tampa's a good hitting team. So let's look at Drew Rasmussen, 3.36 ERA, and he's lost his last 2, 1-3 before that. Give out 5 runs, 0-2, 3-3, 3-1-4. So again, he has his bad day. Losing to California 14-3 in 4 innings. He gave up 70 pitches, 4 hits and 5 runs, a home run. So other than that, that's the most he's done. So it's 0-2, 3-3, 3-1. Are they getting tired? Is it all the travel and everything? See, are we getting into that? This is another variable in baseball that it's every day. The players get tired. The pitcher pitches, even though it's every 5th day. It should be every 4th day. I think they pitch better. And this pitch count, I think, hurts them. Because if you're throwing as hard as you can and you're not on, you're fucked. Very easy. It's like golf. If you swing like Tiger Woods, you're not going to be on every day because you swing too hard. If you're more of a field golfer like Jack Nicklaus, he very rarely had a bad day. How many times do you see Jack Nicklaus shoot 78? Like never. He'd approach it and he'd just be consistent. Par, get a birdie. Big drives, very rarely put himself in bad spots. So one bad game, which was his last one, Rasmussen of Tampa. Miami, Gusto. So in this game, Tampa Bay's minus 129 and 8. Rasmussen, pretty low scoring except for the last game. Gusto is probably a bullpen guy. No, he's a new guy. He's actually pitched, a whole inning in 2. In 1 inning, it was 0 hit, 0 run, and then he pitches 2 innings, gives up 5 hits and 3 runs. So again, it's a bullpen guy. Again, what do you do with the bullpen? Tampa's 129 and 8. You'll probably hit Gusto if Tampa can start hitting. Rasmussen, what do you do with this guy? 5 runs, 2-3, 3-3. They win 4-3, 8-5, 6-3, lose 2-0 to the Yankees, and 14-3. They lose to California. So this is a tough one because Tampa's not hitting. In Miami, they're going to bring out 8 guys in the bullpen and they're going to shut them out, or they're going to give up 5 runs. I don't like betting these bullpen guys. Pittsburgh, the Steelers playing the Atlanta Falcons. I was watching the Pitt Seattle Super Bowl, although I'd much rather have watched the Pitt Dallas Super Bowls of the 70s. So we've got Atlanta minus 139, 8.5. They fucking lost with Chris Sale yesterday. These guys are killing me. 139, 8.5. Mitch Keller, 437 for Pitt. Martin Perez, a 3-0 for Atlanta. The superficially looks like an Atlanta play, but Pitt can hit. They got 7 hitters on the team. And they beat Chris Sale yesterday. So no street. Well, 6-2. Keller 6-2 for which team at for the Steelers. He's 6-2 his last 8. But he's had some rough outings. 4 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs. 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. So it's 2-6-4-1-7. This guy's been struggling lately. This is Mitch Keller. Martin Perez, 3.0 ERA, 35, another Venezuela guy. They're leading the revolution, I think, over there. He used to work in the oil business. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 5 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 4 runs. Then he had a few 1 innings shutouts. I don't know what that was about. 1 inning, yeah, and then 5 innings, 84. So he's 91, 84, then 12, 14, then 78, 86, 81. So I believe he's a starter. So 2-1-4, 2-0. 4 is the most he's given up. So he's a pretty good pitcher. You could see a shutout. Well, Pitt's going to hit him because Pitt can hit. Pitt's got all kinds of hitting. And so does Atlanta, except for yesterday. They forgot to hit against Chris Sale. Atlanta's minus 139, 8.5. What do you do with this game? Keller does give up a lot of runs. Pitt does score a lot, a big lineup. Perez, fairly good. Doesn't give up a lot of runs normally. 8.5. Do we go over 8.5? Keller, Atlanta. We either want to take Atlanta or over. When I saw Keller, he gives up a lot of runs and they score a lot of runs. I think they'll score on Perez. So I think I know which way I'm going here. Again, I'm anticipating that the 300 hitters are going to hit. I'm anticipating Keller is going to give up 4 or 5 runs. I'm anticipating Perez probably goes 5 innings and gives up 2 runs, and then we'll see what the bullpen does. So it all comes down to the bullpen in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, what the total will be. But that's okay. That's why I check the other games to see the scoring. If I see a team scoring 7, 8, 9 runs, then I want to bet them over. But if I see like Tampa didn't score on Detroit the last 2 with Detroit's shit pitching, then you really like Tampa's in a slump. And then you want to bet them under because they're not hitting until they start hitting. And then when they hit, now you bet them over. Oakland and Houston. The Snake Stabler against Earl Campbell. Did they play each other? I don't think. I think Stabler was on Houston when they had Earl Campbell. Oakland's minus 105.9. They blew the lead yesterday with Jin on the mound and a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 9th. They give up 4 runs. It was just that day. And then the Dodgers gave up the run and loss. I was like, really? Those were the 2 I was counting on for sure to win. Okay, Jack Perkins, nothing streak-wise, and this is a reliever. And he's got a pretty high. His ERA is 5.46 here. Not the 0 they show. So they show 0 here, but he's really, if you go in, it's really like a 5 ERA. But he's only going to pitch 2 innings maybe. Houston, Jack Lambert on the mound, 380. Again, Oakland is 105-9. Perkins will give up a lot of runs, but he's only around for 2 innings. And Lambert with a 380. Peter Lambert, probably related to Jack Lambert, no streak. His last five innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 runs, 3 hits, 5 runs, 6 and 3, 3 and 0. So basically, his last 4 have been 3-5, 3-2. So he does give up about 3 runs. Let's see. So Oakland should hit him. Perkins should give up a lot of hits. Altuve's out. Total is 9. That's just too much. I can't trust it. Again, Oakland, you're going to get the guy go 2 innings, give up 2 or 3 runs, and then here come the 8 guys out of the bullpen who should be in the minor leagues. So very difficult to handicap this one. Cleveland at Texas. Cleveland minus 124, 7.5. Messick with the 2.22 going against Rocker with the 4.12. Again, Cleveland minus 124, 7.5. Cleveland, very good bullpen. Messick's a very good pitcher. Parker Messick. And he's 4-1 his last 5. So this is weird. They lose to Boston 9-1, but when I go into him, 5 innings pitched, gave up 5 hits and 1 run. 93 pitches in 5 innings. So again, this is the money ball bullshit where let's hit a bunch of foul balls and get them out of the game. Jesus. So again, this is Cleveland. So 5 hits, 1 run, 5 hits, a shutout, 4 hits, 3 runs, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1. So he does not give up a lot. Usually goes 5 to 6 innings. His worst game was a 5-inning, 6-hit, gave up 4 runs to Oakland. Otherwise, they're pretty low-scoring games with Messick, and Messick does have a real 2.2 ERA. Goes against Rocker for Texas. Kumar Rocker from Georgia. Well, he's a Bulldog. I'm surprised Philadelphia didn't draft him, put him in the secondary. He's not on a streak. 6 innings, a 3-hit shutout, 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs. 7 innings, a 3-hit shutout, 5 innings, a 3-hit shutout, 3 innings, 87 pitches in 3 2/3, gives up 3 runs. Let's see these scores here. It's amazing. He gives up 3 hits, 0, and they win 6-5. 7 2/3, 3 hits, no runs. They win 10-0 over Colorado. He gives up 4 runs. They lose 9-0 to Houston. And against KC, 3 hits, no runs, and they win 7-6. This is the variables in this. Good luck AI trying to figure this mess out. There is a guy who goes 6 innings, 85 pitches, 3 hits, 0 runs, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks, and they win 7-6. So they give up 6 runs in 3 innings. What the fuck? So it shows me a very weak bullpen by who the fuck are we looking at? Texas. So Texas's bullpen's kind of weak. So we gotta be careful with that. So I think I know what I'm doing here. So this makes it very, Rocker pretty decent, but the bullpen sucks. So this could be very close after 6 innings, and then it goes to pot. So Messick. So the question is, do you take Cleveland? Do you go under? I don't see how you take Texas here. Messick should keep him down. It's probably low scoring also. So, of course, whatever I choose will probably be wrong. The Chiefs against the Vikings. Pretty good game if Kyler Murray can play. We got Minnesota minus 110, 8.5. Waka 324 against Zebby Matthews with the 470. What do we do here? Waka's lost his last four, and it's like 6-3, 4-3, 4-3, 5-4. So they're pretty low scoring. Gave up 6 runs his last outing, 2-2, 3-0, 2-4-6. So except for the 2 sixes, he's about 2 runs in about 6 innings, 6-7 innings. They lost to the Yanks 4-3, Boston 4-3. So it gives you an idea. They're about 7-8 run games when he pitches. Good pitcher, lost his last 4. Minnesota's Zebby Matthews with the 4.70 ERA. The Zebster from North Carolina has lost his last 3. He's only pitched in 4. 7 innings shutout. A 6th inning gave up 2 runs. 6th inning 3 runs. 4 innings 7 runs. So those last 3 games, not so good. He's pitched 100 pitches twice, 6 innings, and then he pitched 100 innings. 100 pitches, 4 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs against Pittsburgh. That's why I'm worried about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a good team. So this guy stinks, basically, which we see. Waka, pretty good. Minnesota can hit. Kansas City can hit. I see some lineups, and they got 6, 7 hitters. And then I see a lineup, they got 3 hitters. Matthews is a righty. Minnesota's favored for some reason. How can you favor Matthews with the way he is? I'm going to watch this game, but I'm going to put down KC, and but I'm not going to bet it. But I like to write it down to see if see the activity. The Reds go to the St. Louis. St. Louis minus 137.9. Leahy. No. 137.9. We got Brady Singer, 6.26 ERA against Leahy, 4.25. This should be over just based on the ERAs. And I want to kind of bet the way I normally bet without the streaks on the line, without the pitching streaks, because I was very successful there. So I'm going off on these other variables, and yet they're not that successful. So I'm like, fuck. Here we go. Brady Singer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's lost his last 5. And he is on Cincinnati. Paddock also is on a 5-game losing streak for Cincinnati. They got some pretty bad pitching over there. All right, game logs. 5 innings, 3 runs, 4 innings, 5 runs, 3 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 4 runs, 3 innings, 4 runs. Now you know why he's lost his last 5. And yet he's pitching 80, 90 pitches. So this guy just sinks, and a lot of runs they give up. So it looks over. Let's see what Lehigh does for St. Louis. Kyle Lehigh. And he's win some, lose some, like my cousin Vinny. 4 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 5 runs, 6 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 0, 5 innings, 1. Great. So pretty much 1-0-1-5-1. So he's pretty much, you're not going to get a lot of, he doesn't give up a lot of runs. I don't know what his record's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 5-2 with a 4.25 ERA. So he's got a 4.25. Yeah, that's what it says, and a 6.26. He doesn't give up that many runs. Singer does. So it's either a St. Louis play or an overplay, since he can hit. So we're going to go this way. St. Louis should kill Singer. Cincinnati can hit. I think they used to. Leahy 4-2. So it's hard to bet. It's hard to take Leahy with the 4-2-5. All right. Milwaukee against Colorado. Milwaukee can hit. Played an interesting game with the 49ers yesterday, 12-9. And we're going against the Niners had I think Webb pitching, who's on a 4-game losing streak. All right, Milwaukee minus 147 and 12 because it's in Colorado. Colorado's not playing a lot of 20-run games like they do. Sprout 637 for Milwaukee and Feltner 485 for Colorado. Now I understand the 12 total. I can't play Milwaukee with Sprout with this huge ERA. You got to be kidding me. He's got a 6.24 ERA. He's 1-4. His last 5 games gave up 5 runs, 3, 3, 3, 0, 4, 3. So pretty much he's going to be good for 3 runs a game and about 80 pitches. Going against Feltner, 4.85 ERA. He's pitched in 6 games and given up. Had a shutout last game, 6 innings, 4-hit shutout to the 49ers. Then he gave up 2 runs, 3 runs, 6 runs, 4. So he had trouble in the beginning, probably getting nervous or used to it. Gave up 4 and 6, and since then it's 3-2-0. But we don't really have. We only have 6 games with the guy. He pitched 6 games last year with the 4.75. 2024 pitched 30 games, 4.49. 10 games in 23, 5.82. This guy is not a good pitcher. Gives up a lot of runs. And what do you do with it? Sprout gives up a lot of runs. Do I really want to go over 12? Colorado's not really hitting. Milwaukee can hit. They have hitters. I don't know if they can hit. They played a 20-run. It was 12-9 yesterday with the 49ers, like I said. 2 bad pitchers, that's for sure. I'm struggling to go over 12. Although if there's a game you're going to do it on, it's with these pitchers. These are both minor league pitchers pitching. Milwaukee's got a whole shitload of hitters. Colorado, I think they can hit. I'm going to take a pass on that. Washington goes to Arizona. We got Arizona minus 128 and 9. Griffin for Washington 3.76 against Kelly, a 5.09. This smells like an over. Let's see. Foster Griffin is 12 and he's pitched in 12 games. He's 6-2 with a 3.76 ERA. Didn't do much in 2022 and pitched in 20. He must have been injured from 2022 to 2026. He didn't pitch. 3.76 so far this year. So he probably had Tommy John surgery. He's won his last 3. Gave up 3, 0, 5, 9, 2, 3. So the 0 was against Atlanta, which is shocking the way they hit. And then San Diego, they won 9-4. So he does give up some runs. I don't think he's got a 3.76 ERA. Yeah, I guess he does. All right. My bad. Kelly from Kelly's Heroes, Merrill Kelly, 37 years old, lost and had won his prior 4. He lost 3-2 in the 10th to Seattle. Gave up 2 runs, 3, 1-1, 6-5-8. So he had a bad beginning and then he settled down. It's been 1-1, 3-2-2. So he's in the 2s the last 5 games. So he's not really a 5.09. If we do my football where I go last 5, he's a 2-something. And against Griffin, So I see why Arizona's favored. The total of 9. I'm not doing a time. This probably goes under because he's really a 2 ERA. But Washington always like, who are they? Are they really good or not? The JETSs go to San Diego. San Diego 122-7. We are taking the JETSs on the 7-game losing streak or 5-game losing streak by San Diego. That's your free play, I believe. Yeah, I think that was your free play. I don't know. I gotta highlight them so I know which is the free play. But you're getting it as your free play if you like it or not. Okay, the JETSs. Namath's going to be in there today, and Joe, we're wearing green, as they said. Nothing for Scott. Now, I don't want to just nakedly play this game, but Scott's pretty good. He gave up. He's pitched in 2, 4, 7 games. He's pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 runs twice, and then 1-0-3, 2-1, 3-1. So he's pretty good, pretty low. He's got a 2.97 ERA in 7 games. Very good. Against King for San Diego. And let's see, why is San Diego favored? King, 12 games, has a 3.18 ERA. Didn't pitch last year. Was on the Yankees for 5 years with a 7.6 ERA, a 3.5, a 2.2, a 2.7. The 2.95 was San Diego, 3.44, 3.18. So he's about a 3 ERA pitcher. Lost his last 2, gave up 5 and 4. Before then, it was 0-1-1-4. So he's 4-1-1-0-4-5 are his last 6 games. And so he's decent. The Mets are traveling to San Diego. They were home the other day. But San Diego's on a 5-game losing streak. So we're going with the JETSs. Namath ought to get it done. He knows they're wearing green. He's going to run the ball more. And the ironic thing about that Super Bowl III, the coach he beat, the defensive coordinator on Baltimore, was Chuck Noll of all. That's why Baltimore had the best defense in the league. That's how good Namath was. He beat them. He beat Chuck Noll. I mean, that nobody can say that in the Super Bowl that you beat Chuck Noll. It was Joe Namath, just amazing. All right, so we'll go with the Mets. Again, we're riding the losing streak. Scott's been pitching well. King's fairly well. Total on the game 7. I could see this game being a 5, and I can see this game being a 9. So this one we will bet the streak. Our last game, California goes to the Dodgers. Detmers, the Dodgers minus 191-8, coming off of a loss last night. Detmers 4.63 against Sasaki 4.59. You'd think this would be high scoring. Read Detmers. I don't see anything. And I like how I review the streaks just in case I miss something or somebody's not on it. Detmers, last 5, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 hit. Ooh, I had a 1-hitter against Texas. They won 2-1. Holy crap. 8 innings, 1 hit, 14 strikeouts, 96 pitches. Let's get Skeens doing 8 innings. But the game before that, 8 hits, 8 runs, 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 hits, 2 runs, 3-3-4. So his last few games gave up 4 runs, 3 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 4, 8. Throws a 1-hitter and gives up 1 run and then 3. So most of these he's given up runs. I don't see him against the Dodgers. The 1-hitter was against Texas, who doesn't really have much of a offense, and they won 2-1. But then they put up 14 against Tampa. They gave up 14 to Oakland, gave up 11 to Kansas City. So it's really hit or miss with this guy. And going against Suzuki for the Dodgers, From Japan, one of Mr. Fuji's guys. They like throwing salt in the guy's eyes. That's what they're known for. 10 games started, 10 games, 3-3 with a 4.59. And last year with the Dodgers, in 10 games, he started 8 and he had a 4.46. This guy gives up runs. 5 innings, he gave up 1 run, 5 innings, 3 runs, 7 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 3, 6 innings, 3, 5 innings, 4, 4 innings, 3. So the last few games, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 run, and 5. He goes about 90 pitches. That was the Phillies, that 3 hits, 1 run, and against California, 7 innings, 4 hits. Now could be prevalent because they're playing California here, and they won 10-1, so that's something to note. So we pretty much they lost the game 10-1, or no, they won the game 10-1. That in the last game they lost 4-3 to Philly, and he gave up 1 run. So even though they're pretty high scoring games with this turkey. So let's see. He's got the salt, so he's ready to throw the salt in the pitch in the batter's eyes. 4.59, 4.63, total of 8. All right, I know what I'm doing here. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plays. I have to play and I got to be like the streak shooter. I got to let yesterday go. I got to look back where I had 5 units on 6. This week of June's been a rough week for me. I lost 4 units, 1, 5, 1, 1, and then yesterday I lost 11, and then today. So we got to get hot this weekend. But it's all the pitching matchups. It's not only that; it's what the pitchers do. And we got Skanes. We're expecting him to win. Chris Sale, we're expecting them to win. And that's what's frustrating. And then you get these other games and you don't know what the fuck's going on. So let me just review Mr. Fuji here. Yeah, he's got a 4.5 ERA. And again, these guys go about 5 innings. 5, 5, 7, 5, 6. Okay. So that's what we have in the first game. Let's see if I have to send the email. 2:20 is the first game. So am I even playing it? No, I'm not even playing the 2:20 game. So it starts at 6:40, so I can email later. So that be baseball. Free pick, the JETSs. Namath will be playing today, so we like that. NBA. NBA, we are taking We've got San Antonio minus 6.5, 216. We're taking San Antonio. And we're going minus 6.5, and that's 2 units. This is a must-win game. I'm not locking it because the way the Knicks are playing, I don't want to. This is where it's tough. They've won 12 in a row. San Antonio had them, and they didn't. The Knicks win the game. But San Antonio has to win this game. They go down 2-0 and go to New York. They could be down 4-0. And I don't know if this is 2-3-2 or 2-2, 1-1-1. Either way, they don't want to be down 0-2 going to New York. They have to win the game. First of all, they're pissed after the loss, and they showed you after losing to Oklahoma 2 games, they beat them good in game 4. and then game 6, and then game 7. So these elimination games, they've been very good, or these games where they don't want to go down 3-1. They don't want to go down 2-0. They'll figure out what to do with Winnebago. They'll figure out what to do with Brunson, who I don't know. It looked like he banged his knee, not really hard, kind of like a hyperextension, but Brunson didn't have any problem playing the fourth quarter. So this is a game that you must play San Antonio, although the spread's a little high. It was 5.5. I think that's what I gave yesterday was the 5.5. So what you have is a team at home must win. So the Knicks got their split. That's what they wanted. Will they let up? Probably not. They're probably still going to play hard, but look for San Antonio to be on fire. So go San Antonio, beat Navy. NFL, is there anything there? So I'll just go into the news. Tomorrow we'll go through week 1. It's a nice Saturday thing to do. A.J. Brown to the Patriots. Drake London extends with Atlanta. Is this going to help? A.J. Brown is a problem child, just like Antonio Brown, his brother. Is Drake May any good? I don't think so. Falcons reportedly make Drake Lang. Okay, whatever. Pack wide receiver Christian Watson reportedly agreed to 110. Are you kidding me? 110 million. Too bad that all the money's not really worth anything. Rams will work Myles Garrett contract that pays 204 million for whatever. So the Rams are going to be good for like 1 or 2 years, and then because they can't afford it, what they're paying out. Kyle Shanahan reportedly cancels 49ers mandatory minicamp. Russell Wilson, yeah, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. It's going to be in the broadcast booth. '49ers Brandon Ayuk reportedly has a warrant issued for his arrest. Yeah, but we'll take him. Okay, come on. But we don't want Dagiopava because he made some bad comments. But yeah, this guy has a warrant. Come on, welcome to the team. Micah Parsons says he has 4 months left in ACL recovery. Now, I heard this in the radio yesterday. Mahomes had the same thing. Mahomes is starting week 1, and Micah Parsons is like, 4 months, and we're in June. So June, July, August, September. So he'll probably be back in October. Seems strange. How can Mahomes be better already practicing and Micah Parsons isn't even there? And the surgeries were like 2 weeks apart. Jim Schwartz, Caleb Williams on the cover of Madden. Who gives a fuck? That's basically it. So nothing there. Could Aaron Donald come out of retirement because Myles Garrett's there? And I think the answer is yes. If I was a betting man, which I am, I would bet that Aaron Donald sees a Super Bowl ring with Myles Garrett and Stafford, Pukanuka. I would bet Aaron Donald, if he says he's coming out of retirement, is coming out of retirement. I wouldn't be surprised by that. All right. Let's look at our gold. I'm afraid to look at it. It's been getting crushed. It's down to 43.35. What the fuck is this? Look at this 10 o'clock. Well, it started at 8 o'clock. Big 10 o'clock drop. And silver 68.72, down $5. Now, this is not due to oil because why are you dumping silver to do that. So silver making now, I don't care. I'm not looking to sell my silver. So I'll just wait till it hits $1,000 an ounce. This is all paper. We don't care about paper. We're in physical. We're not really looking to sell, except I'm going to sell an ounce of Cougaran. This is is this due to the war? What is this due to? Really? They're selling options to buy oil? Really? That's what this is about? I don't know. It makes no sense. The dollar's stronger against these other bad currencies, so it drives the gold and silver down because people are buying dollars to buy oil. Anyway, it's not a real thing. This is all bullshit. This is if they need to buy oil or the dollar. What is the dollar strengthening against shit currencies? And it's a shit currency. Have to do with the price of tea to knock the price of gold and oil and silver down. I mean, it doesn't. They're very independent. So the real physical price of gold and silver is much higher than this. We're just seeing this. So go buy oil. We're seeing the dollar dropping, whatever. All I know is China and Russia are buying the shit out of gold right now. Now, you Bitcoin fans, I looked at it yesterday at the gym, and it was a whopping $63,000 down 5,000. And judging by what's happening to gold and silver, I would assume it's down some more. It is. For you Bitcoin folks who say it's never going to go down, it's now at 60,000. So you could have sold and got out of Bitcoin and bought gold. And if you bought gold at 2,000, okay, it's down a little bit. But what has a better chance of surviving, Bitcoin or gold? Obviously gold, because gold's real. Gold's physical. Gold's in your hand. Everybody wants gold. Bitcoin, people can't use it. They don't know what to do with that. It's kind of a collectible, but it isn't. I mean, this is a collectible. Mr. Robert Bonilla, it's a collectible because I can hold it. Here's Bobby Bo's card. I got it in my hand. I'm going to trade you the card for cash. You give me the cash, I give you the card. But in Bitcoin, there's no such thing like that. There is no, I don't get anything back for my money. I just give you money and I get something that says you have a Bitcoin. We don't know what the price is derived at. Oh, that's one thing I want to show you. So I'm going to show you this. As you know, I talk about the 10 o'clock fix, right? The 10 o'clock drop I talk about. So I went into Google, being analytical as I am, and said, what the fuck is this 10 o'clock drop? And now we're going to see how fake this whole COMEX system is. The other thing I did real quickly is I've been opening my door wall at night because it's supposed to be 60 degrees out. But yesterday it was really warm in here. And I'll get to the 10 o'clock drop in a minute. And I says, you know what? It's like the wind chill, right? It's 20 degrees out, but with the wind chill, it's 10 below. Well, there's a heat index. So even though it's 70 degrees outside, and I'm like, well, it feels warm in here. It's because the heat is really hotter. So I figured this out. So now it's 76, but it feels like 78, which is really the heat, the humidity. So now I go, I don't want to leave my door open because it's really 78 out there and I don't want it to become 78 in here. But when it's 65 outside, I open the door and let the 65 in. So I kind of thought fifth dimensionally and said, why is it so warm in here? It was like 10 o'clock at night and it was like, it's like 80 in here. And I'm going, but it's 65 out. But that's when I got this heat index and I go, it's warmer than that. I did go to the lake yesterday, walked it. All right. So let's go and see what the fuck the 10 o'clock drop is. Because we always wonder why the fuck at 10 o'clock does the price drop like this. So let's read it. The COMEX, managed by the CME Group, does not have a 10 a.m. price fix for metals. Instead, the CMA Group sets daily gold market prices at 10:30 London time and 3 p.m. London time. Well, there is a 10 o'clock drop based on volume-weighted trading averages on CME. If you are looking for a 10 a.m. Eastern Time reference point in New York, you may be thinking of the LBMA gold price established on London at 10:30, which is 5:30 a.m. and 3. The LBMA silver price. Now, there's a better definition. The London fixed price is a global daily set price for precious metals issued by the London Bullion Association and its member banks, the largest over the counter traders of physical metals in the world. The price is agreed upon and fixed based on current buying selling interest, not physical. For gold, it is set twice per day and once per day for silver. The London market issues a fixed price twice per day for gold. These fixed prices are a benchmark used by institutions, producers, and other large market participants to price contracts and settle large buy and sell orders. Refineries and mining companies also use them to value their inventories. The gold FX price is established in London at 10:30 a.m., 4:30 in the morning, and 3 p.m., 9 a.m. That's the 8 or 9 a.m. price that usually wanders into 10 a.m. The silver fixed price is established once per day at noon. The fixed process is done electronically and normally takes 10 to 15 minutes, though it could take 30 minutes or longer during extreme market conditions. The process is essentially an auction method. The fixed price is set once the gross amount of buy orders matches the gross amount of sell orders, which is bullshit, among all participating banks. This assures that all large orders will be executed at a common price. The fixing process has been ongoing since 1919 and occurs in London because for many years it was home to most wholesale gold transactions in the world. London is still considered one of the primary gold marketplaces. Oh, really? As is evident, the gold and silver fixed prices are not designed for the general public. They are used to conduct wholesale orders and dealers would not normally open an account for a private investor. Most investors cannot trade at this level anyway. Settlement conditions are a good delivery bar, generally 4 ounces. Latest London fix on June 4th. Gold, it's all bullshit. London fix. So I saw a better one the other day. What is the AM? What is the COMEX price of gold? Who is fixing the price of gold? Bullion associations and markets, bullion associations in major Indian cities such as Mumbai and Chennai play a role in setting daily gold rates based on inputs from local market participants, including wholesalers and jewelers. These rates serve as a reference point for gold transactions. What a bunch of crap that is. Let's see. COMEX gold futures settlement 630. This is the official daily settlement for gold futures. It's the price institutions use for margining P&L and risk models. Oh, so not the real models, not the real market. You'll often see a flurry of action right before that, often a calmness after. Think of it like the closing bell for the gold future sessions, even though the market keeps trading. Daily COMEX. Here we do have a 10 o'clock maintenance break, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. UK time. In the futures market, trading pauses for 1 hour every evening for maintenance, whatever that is. Useful to know if you're holding overnight or managing stops around that time. Basically, it's a bunch of bullshit. The London fixing times. This is the London gold fix used by central banks dealing in physical gold. The London bullion market is the international home of pricing. Why are they doing this when just let the market go? You don't go into Kroger's and, oh, wait a minute, it's 10 o'clock. Let's remark what steaks cost. The London fix isn't based on COMEX futures. It has its own physical auction. Bullshit. Well, it's physical, but it's not physical gold. It's based on options, but price often aligns closely thanks to arbitrage and hedging. What a bunch of bullshit. It has its own physical auction, but price often aligns closely thanks to arbitrage and hedging across global markets. So listen, this isn't strategy or anything, but if you're going to trade a market, it makes sense to understand how it works behind the scenes. We're not trading the market. We're buying physical. There is no price for physical. I wrote on Egon's thing yesterday. Egon did his little video, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I said. I think I showed you this.
Investors are not aware that they're standing on the edge of a precipice. Most investors believe that, as for the last, let's say, 50 years at least, all the bubble assets will continue to grow to heaven, whether they're stocks or bonds, property, or other paper assets. But sadly, this time, they will lose everything. We're coming to the end of a monetary era, and we're coming to the end of a bubble asset era. This will mean...
Okay, so let me look at my... So this is me talking to Egon. Egon, what is the real physical value of gold? No one knows because it's valued in a paper option value. Supply in paper, 4.3 tons versus physical 220,000 tons. So no gold will go up at least 20-fold to match the true low supply, the professor. So he says that the value of gold never goes up, that it's stable, that it can buy a cow. And I'm saying, but the price is in paper, 4.3 million tons. We don't have a physical price of 220,000 tons. So you don't know, you can't compare it to a cow. You can't say the value of physical gold doesn't go up because you don't even know what the value is. What is the real physical value of gold? No one knows because it's valued in a paper option value. So what I'm saying is this $4,300 gold, you have no that's not the value. That's the paper value with 4.3 million tons, not the 200,000. So people selling these options to buy oil have nothing to do with the physical price. But you don't know what the physical price is, Egon, because we don't know what it is. We've never had it. We've never had a physical price of gold. See here, gold won't go up. It never does. The currencies by which gold is priced go down. No, see, again, that's not true. Yeah, the dollar's going to go out, but the value of gold should be a free market. It should be a free market thing, and it should adjust as the supply and the demand. As the demand adjusts, so should the price. So if everybody wants gold, the value should go way up. So this is the point and the problem. So he says, oh, really, yeah, the currencies go down and it really doesn't matter. But to say gold won't go up, it never does. They're insane. Of course it goes up. What's going on today? Gold's going down, isn't it? The value of gold went from 4,500 to 4,300. Isn't that the value going down? So you can say gold does, but it's here they're knocking it down. Now, again, this is paper, this is options and derivatives that are driving the price down. People selling options to buy oil, whatever the fuck they're doing, or the dollar is stronger versus the Turkish lira, and therefore gold goes down because the dollar is going up. Whatever it is, I don't know. Now, if we look at it, and we saw Bitcoin at 60,000, so they're dumping Bitcoin. The gold's going down. The silver is getting crushed, which has no bearing on anything because if the dollar goes up, does not lower silver. So silver's going down so they can buy more silver. But I don't know how much silver's left. And that's the thing. How much is left in COMEX? So they're playing this paper game, knocking the price of gold down. And all it does is allow China and Russia and India to buy more at these ridiculously low prices. Somebody said, well, India is selling, that's why it's going down. No, because China's buying it. If Turkey is selling their gold, somebody's buying the gold. It's not that they're just selling it. There's a buyer. If I sell this coffee mug, who am I selling it to? Oh, I'm selling it to Bobby. That means he's the buyer. The price doesn't change. I sell it for 25. He buys it for 25. So even if Turkey is selling gold for oil, doesn't mean that the price would go down because somebody's buying it. So really stupid comment. We played Egon yesterday. I'm not going to play him again. And we got to get to Mark McGuire. China corners the market. China is buying the shit out of it. All right, let's listen to Mark. He's on these weird times. Like he was on like yesterday, I think.
As we'll look at shortly,
Mark McGuire.
3 to 5 tons of physical gold bleeding out of the cartel's hands per day really begins to add up. They now have to keep printing or we crash.
We've got this ticking time bomb. Gold with the one and only.
Here we are, another 2 weeks later. Seems like time is just flying by really quick here, but into a massive war induced, I guess, all the volatility that's happening, which is once again picked up again today. And as we record this episode here on Wednesday, we've had a lot of subscriber questions asking if you can help identify where the large leverage gold and silver future sellers finally get overrun by the unleveraged physical buyers, the real buyers. Yeah.
Well, hey Shane, nice to be with you.
So
Nice.
what he just asked him in English is, everybody, we're all asking the same question. You tell us that COMEX, everybody's out of the casino. The price should run, get to 8,000, 9,000. And then you still see COMEX dropping, and you're like, what's going on? Why is COMEX dropping when all the buyers are out? And the price should just go zoom because China's buying it and Russia's buying it. Why are we still seeing the price go down? That's the question.
Be with everybody, of course. And yes, there has been a lot of questions, and I think it's so important to really the focus, really, and is always the focus, but more so today. The focus for these bi-weekly live from the vault market updates is to both demystify the heavily influenced, synthetically driven action, which we can see today, into increased war, drums beating today. But it's also to provide a realistic price expectation into each monthly stair step along the way. And that's what we're trying to do. And this week, with fresh US-Iranian clashes and sanctions being added today, and with ceasefire efforts looking stalled into a higher dollar, higher oil, bond yields rising, it really is, of course, it's weighing on gold again, and silver, of course, and all commodities. And all the automated mechanical crosses against gold and silver are once again fueling bearish headwinds. Now, I will look at where we stand into this paper to physical gold and silver battle, and a battle it is, by answering the most misunderstood question, and it aggregates down to how is it actually possible for an increasingly illiquid, unbacked, underpriced COMEX futures gold market to be able to disproportionately bearishly influence the physically deliverable T+1, I'm talking about deliverable Local London spot gold benchmark fixed price. So if we understand what is driving the action and why, then we can make better informed decisions, and we're less likely to be unnecessarily shaken out of our precious metals wealth protection assets by looking at where the central banks and sovereigns and COMEX pit managers are actually buying. Now, given today's bearish action, this could not be a better time to answer this very, very on-point series of questions. Now, in particular, the question arises from the fact that spot gold, as fixed in London twice a day, is actually Basel III NSFR compliant. It's a first-tier asset. So how is it possible for an unbacked futures gold market to sell all the way down into what is the historic self-fulfilling, synthetically derived bull-bear 200-day moving average indicator, where since our last episode, the House has and is ringing the register against leverage shorts into the lowest COMEX gold open interest in history. Now, to understand this, we need to look at the influence that leverage has on the NSFR compliant fixed price, but how inevitably that backfires steadily, and in this case, into a sequentially higher, increasingly physically influenced 200-day moving average stair step, where the 60-year paper to physical battlefield is gradually being won. Now, we'll look at that in the charts in a little while, but first, as exposed by WikiLeaks, the COMEX gold futures market was launched in 1974 for the sole purpose of containing and synthetically managing the price of gold, specifically designed to swamp sufficient freshly printed paper gold supply to dilute and
and then to benchmark a global gold foreign exchange price, which no longer represents a real supply-demand price. Now, as the leaked WikiLeaks memo outlined, the objective was to inject volatility and, as later admitted by industry apologists, to add sufficient 100-to-1 leverage paper gold supply, and that the object is to press real supply demand foreign exchange price. Now, bearing in mind that the foreign exchange price is a $15 trillion a year market. So this is not only to dissuade investors from holding gold, but because gold is one side of a foreign exchange cross against the dollar and other national currencies, that is. So the inflated dollar against gold, what that did was dissuade foreign central banks from swapping their unbacked dollars for US Treasury gold. So, which is what they were doing, which is why Nixon pulled gold off the dollar off the gold peg. So, to understand what this self-fulfilling 200-day moving average bull-bear trend line represents, and that was all the way back, if you look at it, from Bank of England using it in 1833 to hide their gold reserves. Then there was R.H. Hooker formalizing the math for it in 1901. Then Charles Dow applying this bull-bear indicator to stocks in the 1920s. Now we need to put it into perspective, though, with real asset gold and silver. Now, from its 1994 launch and for the last 60 years, this 200-day moving average has been deliberately gaslighted as the trailing inflection trigger point where the house pushed 100-to-1 leverage to the point where the foreign exchange lines crossed and the dollar actually then became overvalued against gold, incentivizing foreign central banks to swap dollars for gold. So this was the point they didn't want to go past. So the 200-day moving average was kept flat enough to manage the price for many, many, many years, but close enough to be able to tag it, but the ability to really gaslight people to say, hey, if it's below the 200, we've got to sell. And if it's above the 200, okay, let's buy. So obviously this is what this was gaslighted to believe. Now, it kept it flat enough to manage price, but began to rise after the Browns bottom, which is when Gordon Brown sold all of the UK gold. And not only did he do it in such a way where it would get the worst price, which really gave the game away, by announcing that he was going to sell it and then crashing the price. And that was just before the head of the millennia. Now, this painfully slow gold price appreciation against the dollar continued until two tectonic events ripped the rug from under the COMEX price suppression exchange. You can see it on the charts when we look at it. Now, these two events ultimately allowed the IMF, who were refusing to sell the PBOC, the remaining 200 tons of the 400-ton sale in 2010, which was the last IMF sale of gold. And if you remember, they allowed India to buy 200 tons of the 400, but they blocked China from even agreeing to sell, we'll just buy it at market to bid for the other half. Now, usually and we've seen India also selling gold recently to try and support their currency, but this is central bank to central bank stuff. It doesn't hit the market. It is monetary gold that is being settled from central bank to central bank. And China would be very happy to take it, but they refuse to sell it. And that really gave the game away. Even though they were going to pay the at market price. Now, this marked the event where the PBOC say, okay, let's step in. And they aggressively stepped up central bank monetary gold buying and opened up gold to its citizens directly after this in 2010. Now, we looked at all the reasons for this refusal in more detail in prior episodes. But to sum it up, The remaining 200 tons was deliberately kept back by the Fed to leverage it 100 to 1, turning 200 tons of physical gold into 20,000 tons of paper supply. And that was part of the process of maintaining its then 40-year price suppression mandate. That was 40 years on from the original mandate. Now, the official smoke and mirrors illusion masked the fact that the dollar's purchasing power, as benchmarked against gold, had dwindled to just 3 cents on the dollar. So by 2020, foreign central banks woke up to this loss of dollar purchasing power against real assets, and which they were also buying or producing, and they stepped up aggressively hedging dollar and US Treasury debasements with physical gold. Now let's kind of look at the two game-changing events. And the first official shot across the Fed's suppression bow was when the BIS squared all of their remaining 500 tons of 50 years of paper gold for dollar swaps. This was to ready themselves and their central bank site accounts that they managed for the European-facing central banks. They wanted to get ready for the reclassification of gold as a Basel III first-year asset, and which was on the 1st of January 2023. Now that forced traders who are offering otherwise unregulated spot gold at the fixes to be one-to-one physically backed. If you remember, COVID exposed that, nearly crashed the entire system, forced a bailout, and that's when the BIS said, we need to, if you're going to offer something it's an unregulated market, but if you offer something at the fix, it has to be deliverable. And that's what this was all about. Now, this was the first inflection point where the Fed agency, CME or BMA cartel, were powerless to block central banks to once again step up swapping dollars for physical gold at the global-facing FX fixes. I mean, they begged and screamed, the LBMA begged and screamed that this shouldn't be implied, but it was. And this also marked the first split in 50 years between the European-facing long for gold Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, and a split between the Fed, left holding the bag on a massive rehypothecated US Treasury gold position. Now, as of the 1st of January 2023, the Fed was left as the only global central bank still trying to manage a rapidly debasing dollar against gold. Now, while Basel III gold reclassifying gold as a first-year deliverable asset impeded the Fed's ability to cap the rising gold price, it was nevertheless, there's still 600 to 800 tons of leveraged paper gold traded and settled inside the CME LBMA ring fence, with only 3 to 5 tons. It's averaging over the last many years, just 3 to 5 tons of actual NSFR compliant T+1 deliverable gold to comply. And obviously that gold was then forced into physical delivery. However, as we'll look at shortly, 3 to 5 tons of physical gold bleeding out of the cartel's hands per day really begins to add up, and it influences even the synthetic indicators. So back to looking at this all watched and regularly attacked 200-day moving average, which is this white line here. Now, this 60-year anchor that the House relied on to lay off billions of 100 to 1 short bets against the speculators is beginning to break free. Now, because this is about where we looked at the second shot that inflicted the cartel's fatal wound, directly followed the China's surprise launch of the Shanghai Futures Exchange, which is right here, this circle right here. And while we'd previously evidenced multiple cartel wash and rinse cycles culminating and getting below the 200-day moving average, Not once have they been able to sustain a meaningful chart-painted bear market sell event at this rising 200-day moving average. And although it's $2,500 per ounce higher, it's now reflecting a better balance. This is beginning to reflect a better balance between where the rising central bank physical bids now trail higher. In fact, the 200-day moving average has not been bridged once since the Shanghai Futures Exchange was launched in March 2024. Now, we've had some tags of it, and what that in each case, it's triggered central bank buying. Now, I've reflected the 200-day moving average on the 240-minute chart, which is the 4-hour chart.
All right,
So give us a better view.
Enough of these charts. How speculative positions drive gold. So how the paper gold is driving the physical price.
Of the top to bottom and what's going on. Now, the recent from the Shanghai Futures Exchange launch to now, as was exampled when after the Shanghai Futures Exchange launched, gold broke out $3,000 higher to that $5,000 level. And the house one-to-one then, of course, took a short side once and only once it got to 5,000. Now, we're recording this on a day where we've got a lot of selling based upon war kicking off again. First time the war kicked off, we were down to the 200 was here. And now the 200 is just rising. And the central bank bids are waiting for, and well, that's why it likely gets front run, as it did marginally here. Now we're under 5,000 now. But under the smoke and mirrors COMEX action, we're evidencing strong central bank accumulation. So as the price in here, so let's step and see what happened. This is where it consolidated briefly at the physical support level. So as the price overshot 5,000 by $600 in just 6 trading days, the risk to the Fed's leveraged Bank of International Settlements borrowings grew exponentially. And remember, they had to settle their Bank of International Settlements Feds consistently higher and higher and higher. And here we were now looking at hundreds of dollars, $1,000 higher than where they wanted it. Why do you think they changed the margin requirements? They needed to fix it lower, even though it was higher than the prior fix, the prior settlement place. Now, if you think about it, at a potential 100-to-1 leverage, 100 tons of borrowed gold can be leveraged into a potential 10,000 tons. And that would ultimately, if called on, expose the Fed to 3 times annual gold supply having to be repaid at market. But it would be more likely to force the US Treasury gold price to be revalued. Now, central banks buy at any price. So the risk of a higher stair-step being established had to be defended, as I say. So in full control of the naked long book, a rapid succession of higher borrowing costs were parachuted into the massively over-leveraged COMEX-driven bubble right here. And that was just as the new contract was launched. So raising those borrowing costs meant you had to sell your position. So
it's all margin calls, basically.
this week, the Monday's game PM fix. That's the London PM fix, which again, into war-driven bearish headwinds, we evidence a $55 higher Shanghai spot price at the London fix moment. Now, while this very large arbitrage premium quickly settled back to around $13 after the fix, what it does is illustrate the CMA LBMA gold is in central bank and sovereign delivery crosshairs. It's being targeted. Now, these plus or minus 5 tons a day of outflows, they fly under the radar of this 600 to 800 tons derivative gold that actually influences the daily fixes. But as the paper to physical leverage lines cross, it ultimately determines the pivotal turning point. And hidden by a massive headline grabbing leveraged gold sell-off, under the radar, a net of unreported PBOC, Russian, and Saudi monetary gold demand, we've evidenced a steady, sequential, daily 3 to 5 tons of unleveraged, underpriced T+1 and SFR compliant London fixed gold flowing into China, and of course the commercial.
So what he's saying there is Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia are buying all this gold as it gets cheaper. So part of the reason it's going down is margin calls. Part of the reason it's going down is because the dollar's strengthening versus these weakening currencies, because these other countries like Turkey need to buy oil and they need to buy dollars to buy the oil. I don't know if Saudi, they take one. I don't know if they take the Turkish or not. You'd think they would take anybody, but that's the problem. So they're buying, right? There's strong demand. Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia are buying this gold. If India sells, China buys, that would not have a thing on the price because it's being bought and sold. So that would not cause the price to drop. It's margin call, and it's just the dollar being stronger because of the war, because people need to buy oil and they need the dollar to buy the oil, of which case it doesn't matter because they're not buying the dollar to buy the dollar. They're buying the dollar to buy the oil, and it's just showing up like that. So that's why we're seeing this drop. These countries need cash for oil. So it's this basically this war. But Russia, China, and Saudi are still buying it. But when you can leverage like they do, like you said, you take 5,000 tons of gold and you leverage it into 500,000 tons, that's the problem. So you're selling fake paper gold, lowering the price, but it's not real. It's physical. And that's why this COMEX price is such bullshit, because nobody's selling physical gold here. In fact, they're buying physical gold from COMEX. So it's how much gold does COMEX have, but it's keeping that in. Let's take a look at, then there was a question on silver. Gold overtakes U.S. Treasuries.
Minimum themselves are 45,000 tons. We think that's an absolute minimum. And that's off the radar physical gold, which are sold in the state-held banks. And then, of course, you've got the 38,000 odd tons of accessible citizens-held gold, which in aggregate has overtaken U.S. Treasuries as the largest reserve asset held by central banks. It reflects both heavy official sector. They're taking the long side every single day. And in aggregate, we've reached the inflection point where the momentums controlling 80% of all the remaining COMEX open interest are experiencing the first layer of naked bubble short positioning being called in by the House, exposed to a large aggregation of accrued delivery obligations. All the evidence from massive SGE premiums to a degradation of bearish historical correlations, it evidences the commercials exposed to these delivery obligations have all been taken the long side of these wrong at both ends momentums. Now, this chart affirms what we've been tracking, which is the weak hands sold the correction, and the strong hands kept buying. What this gold spec chart washout doesn't show is the addition of momentum-driven shorts yet to cover. Also, the perfect hammer candle captured on the 200-day moving average. This Financial Times article affirms that gold has overtaken US Treasuries as the largest reserve asset held by central banks. It reflects both heavy official sector buying and a strong rise in the gold price. Now, this trend accelerated in 2022 after the US froze Russia's dollar reserves following the invasion of Ukraine. And it picked up significantly after Basel III was imposed in 2023. And now the ECB is reporting currently geopolitical tensions are continuing to drive strong demand for physical gold. And as you can see, these charts, what we don't see in these charts is the unleveraged physical buying is yet to run over this unbacked 100 to 1 leveraged sellers. Of interest, central banks officially hold more than 36,000 tons of gold, which is within 2,000 tons of the 38,000 tons held during the Bretton Woods era, where Nixon stepped in to block central banks from cashing in their dollars for gold. Obviously, this report does not account for unreported monetary gold accumulations, but even taken at face value, gold has overtaken US Treasuries as the largest reserve asset held by central banks, reflecting both heavy official sector buying and a strong rise in the gold price. Now, while the yuan is still a national currency with capital controls, underlying this, following decades of unreported monetary gold inflows, Beijing has accrued a minimum themselves of 45,000 tons. We think that's an absolute minimum. And that's off the radar physical gold, which are salted in the state-held banks. And then, of course, you've got the 38,000 odd tons of accessible citizens-held gold, which in aggregate, stealthy is providing the PBOC an increasingly liquid gold bridge asset that is being collateralized. Hence, we see there's enough liquidity now to actually accommodate all of the real traders that we talked about. And as this process rolls out, China's CIPS messaging system facilitates a gold bridge into the global-facing 100% physically settled SGE gold corridor, where such collateralization arbitrates. Now, as all of this off the radar, it is all off the radar, but it's coiling a 100% naked short CME LBMA leverage blowback, a massive one. Pick your own higher price. It's impossible to accurately assess. But if you divide the total amount of US Treasury debt with the 8,100 tons of Treasury gold, it would require $150,000 per ounce. Well, obviously, to front run such an implausible scenario, because it would bankrupt the Fed will be forced to revalue gold sooner. Likely, it would suit them, probably around plus or minus $25,000, after which the Fed will join with every other central bank and want a strong, stable gold price. Now, but do note, when you look at the Bart Chilton interview, he asked me about the gold price at that time, 2018. And I said, well, I thought the gold price would rise when I said it would rise. And if I'd said it was $1,500, but if I'd said $5,000, it would have seemed wild. People would have thought I'd taken the wrong drug or something. And it was because that was 3.5 times where the price was in 2018. Now, but if we take a 3.5 times higher price from the 5,200 current fair value, that's 18,200 per ounce. Now, one step at a time here, but there has never been in history been a better time to hedge the complete collapse of the fiat system This is realistic.
Hey, Andrew, that's amazing. And the second most asked question last week, of course, is what are you seeing in silver with all this volatility?
Yes, I knew that was coming. While Western traded silver is not a first-tier high-quality liquid asset, everything else we've looked at also applies to silver, especially with the moving averages. But notably, from a 200-day moving average bull-bear pivot perspective, silver is significantly outperforming gold. And despite these same actors' best efforts, there's simply no specs left to reach the rising 200-day moving average, which hasn't been touched in over 2 years, yet it's rising rapidly. And every sell-off is bounced well above its war-driven lows. Silver is a beach ball coiled for a massive physically driven rally, leading gold higher. Also, to illustrate just how thin conditions were on Monday, that's just 2 days ago, a flash tiny silver futures, 807 lots, just a tiny 807 lots, where we see thousands of them trading in a minute. But a single tiny 807 lot exchange spiked silver at $2.06 lower. That's $10,300 per contract lower, from 75,565 to 73,505, but immediately snapped back up to 75, topping out and then made a new Monday intraday high at 76,575. Now, I'm just bringing attention to this because is it any wonder why all the real money hedgers, refiners, central banks, and institutional traders have bailed from the CME LBMA's broken market, other than to raid and lock in COMEX silver for their own delivery? I think what's missed by the myopically focused Western analysts is the moment silver lands in the 100% physically backed Asian-facing free trade zone SGE silver exchange, it essentially can be treated as a high-quality liquid asset that can institutionally be collateralized. And this identifies silver as massively underpriced. This is a huge gap to fill on the upside. And this return to safe haven gold, silver, and full spectrum of other halo hard assets is going to be a major factor driving the price of paper settled gold and silver to reflect a more equitable, physically derived market price that is priced 1-to-1 gold in gold convertible yuan, which is then immediately convertible to gold. It really truly reflects the supply and demand fundamental price that is grossly undervalued right now. And while war-driven, this flip-flop volatility, we looked at this last day, it's driving the short-term, highly leveraged action. Look at it today, spiking down, spiking up. It is, under these synthetic drivers, we're evidencing the largest transfer of physical gold and silver ever recorded. Central banks and sovereigns are front-running a gold versus real asset reset, and it will be silver that leads the way higher. And as we affirmed last week, no one I know has sold a single ounce of physical gold or silver. And again, my message is the same as last week, is, get ready for a beach ball decoupling of paper to physical markets. There's no long speculators left to rinse. And this reveals a bubble short coiled market ready to explode. So really that leaves the only question, how much physical gold or silver?
So basically, it's the war shorting, the people getting out of their options to buy US dollars, and that triggers gold and silver to drop. These margin calls trigger it, but it's all in the paper game. Nobody's selling physical. The banks are buying physical. China, Russia, and Saudi are buying physical. Just follow the banks. The central banks know what they're doing. If anybody is so corrupt as the bankers know what to do. So the banks are buying. It's just this paper. A, they want to get you out of gold and silver because it can't control you and tax you. B, they're buying up as much as they can physically. He just said China's got 80,000 tons, 45,000 tons they have, 30,000 by the people is 75,000 tons. And I'm sure there's more there. So you're looking at 80, 90,000 tons of gold, that physical gold that China has, Russia's buying, India is buying, and Saudi Arabia is buying, and I'm sure UAE also, Dubai. So if we look at what the bankers are doing, they're buying. They're not really paying attention to the price. The U.S. wants you out of gold and silver. They want you in the stock market or Bitcoin. And that's so they can tax you, because they need tax revenue, because the U.S. is broke. $40 trillion debt. You're fucked. You're broke. So you're just, oh, well, we can tax people if they get out of gold and sell it. We can get the 1099, and then they're in the stock market or wherever they're in. We can tax them there. They can't tax us in gold. So that's the biggest thing, what's happening. And I know it's frustrating, and I know we're all frustrated by it, but just focus on the physical. You're fine in physical, and it's just this war, whatever. Let's see what's happening here. Are we getting a little bang for our bucks? All right, it's starting to come up a little. 43.44. Yes, it's very low, but this is people buying options. It was 44.70. So we got to get back to 44 to get back to 45, which we're coming again. This is a steal, this price. Silver was down to 68, back to 69. And all you can do is understand this is paper, not physical. All the physical we have is fine. And off I go. I'm waiting. I waited a whole week to sell my 1 ounce Krugerrand at 98, but I'll have to wait one more week. Otherwise, I do need the money by the end of the month. I could be in trouble, because once I run out of money in my safe, I don't have money left. So if I need $100, I'm fucked. So I got to sell, but I'll wait one more week. It's only the 5th. So I will sell by next Friday. I'll hope for finally an up day, and then at 4,700, just sell 1 ounce, just because I need the cash, not because I don't want to hold the gold. But I got a lot of other ounces of gold that will come in. I could sell a half an ounce or 3/4 ounces as opposed to a full ounce. I might do that, but again, it's $10,000 physical gold and $1,000 physical silver. That hasn't moved. There's nothing. There's huge demand by these countries and central banks, and very low supply. The supply, as he's talking, when you do the supply on COMEX, you're controlling a lot of paper options. As I said, 4,300,000 tons of paper gold versus 220,000 tons of physical gold. That hasn't changed. The 220,000 tons hasn't changed. The 4.3 million tons of paper gold does change. So they just dump this paper out there, but the physical is what we're concerned about. And there's only 220,000, and that number hasn't changed and can't change. Yeah, they'll find a couple thousand here and there, which has no effect on our physical. So all you can do is understand the physical is the way out. It's your freedom. It really isn't going. It's not really going down. The paper's going down, but not the physical. And that's what you got to understand. The physical is just that much stronger, because as these guys buy it, they're buying physical. Nobody's buying paper. So how long does COMEX last? That's why we're like rolling our eyes going, well, why is COMEX allowed to control the physical price? It's ridiculous. I showed you the 10 o'clock fix. They're just paper. They're just options. They're derivatives. They're not physical. So we got to look at terms of physical gold and silver, not paper. We know it's undervalued, and that's fine. And we just keep going with it. And we're going, we got to ignore this COMEX. Really do. Okay, yeah, it's a great buying opportunity. It hurts me that I want to get 5,000 for my gold, not that. And that's why I might sell a half an ounce, and I can sell a half ounce now, and 6 months later buy another half ounce, and by then hopefully we'll be back $5,000-$6,000 gold. So I could do that, but that's the key to it. So right now at 40, let's say 4,400, I'd get 2,200, which would hold me for let's say 6 months, and then with football coming up. So we'll see. All right, I got to email my baseball picks. Again, your free pick is the JETS, Jets. It's just a 2-unit play. I don't have a 3-unit play. I just stay positive. I had a bad day yesterday. Streaks ended. Chris Sale didn't win. Skeins didn't, it's just, did you make the correct bet? Yes. Did I make a bad bet? Maybe the Boston bet should have been an over, but even that didn't win against Baltimore. But I bet the guy who lost 6 games in a row, or the team lost 6 games in a row with him. So maybe that thesis doesn't work as much as this streak. Again, the Mets are on. I'm betting against San Diego on a 5-game losing streak, but I do like them. So I take that as one variable, but then do I like the game? And I do like the Mets pitcher. So I like the Mets anyway with the losing streak. So the losing streak can't be the number one reason to bet it. It's got to be the pitchers in the matchup. And then you go, oh, it's a streak. You can't just say, oh, they're on a streak, bet it. Now, yes, I do tell you that. Once we get to like a 5-game winning or losing streak, to just keep betting them until the streak ends. I do that. And we were very successful on the Cubs when they won 10 in a row twice and when they lost 10 in a row. We made a lot of money on that. But a lot of these streaks and even these pitcher streaks, they're going 5-6 games and then they're ending. We're catching them late because we've just kind of figured that part out. So we're not getting them after they lose 3 in a row and riding them, and then they end at 6 or 7. We're kind of seeing them now, and so we've got to be careful with that. And again, that's the team losing, not the pitcher necessarily losing. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Just watch your gold. I don't see it really getting much lower. I don't get what's going on. See if Egon's got anything more today, but it's mostly the dollar's stronger against other currencies that are weak. The dollar's weak. The dollar's gone. All these currencies are worthless, and therefore, but the way this game's set up is when the dollar goes up versus the yen, gold goes down for some reason. Makes no sense to me. But we're dealing with paper gold. We're not dealing with physical. So remember that. You're fine. In the long run, we're fine. This is just a blimp, and it's going to reverse. And all we can do is just understand this is paper options going down because of high oil prices. Anyway, look at Bitcoin. You're down to 60,000 there. So how low is Bitcoin going to go? A lot lower, I imagine. Because they can't control it. I mean, it got up to 80, and Michael Saylor, oh, look at me, and now it went back into the 70s, and it went from 70 to 60 like that. And so is gold, though. Gold's 43.40 was 48. Silver was 88 a week and a half ago. It's down $20, and nobody sells it. This is the stupidest. This is such a Madoff, where it's the paper price, not the physical price. So as long as you understand that, we will be fine. I'm only selling 1 ounce because I need cash, not because I don't, it's got nothing to do with, I'm getting out before the gold price collapses. No, that's what they want you to do. They want you to sell your gold. Your gold's your retirement. Your gold's your life insurance. Your gold will keep your family eating, and your silver. So don't be selling it. Don't be afraid. Oh, it's dropping. I got to get out of it. No, that's Bitcoin. You want to sell it and get out of it before it collapses. But again, it's this war, and Trump and the morons are just clueless. Netanyahu, I don't know what he's doing. These guys are they're like Hitler. Hitler wouldn't surrender because Germans can't surrender, and they're going to go, if you're German, you got to go to the end. I mean, that was what Hitler said. That's why they lost in Russia. He wouldn't let them come back. He wouldn't let them. Oh, no, we're the Germans. We got to keep going. You don't have weapons. It's freezing cold, and you probably should pull them back and try again in the spring. No, not Hitler. He doesn't play to win. He's too stupid to do that. Anyway, so keep an eye on that. Take the Mets. Take tonight. Take San Antonio. Lay 5.5, 6. They have to win. They're down 1-0. This is must win because they're at home. They lose. They then go. They could get swept If you can't win this game, you're in big trouble. So the Knicks are playing well. So this is do or die San Antonio. Take San Antonio. It's a good bet. Will it win? Who knows? It's a good bet. They should win it because they have to win it. But you never know. Anyway, don't bet too much on it, but bet it. It's a good bet. Nothing new in football. Look for Aaron Donald to come back with Myles Garrett. Stafford, Pukanuka, pretty good running attack. A decent coach, I think. I don't know how good Sean McVay is. Played terribly against Seattle. They should never have lost that game. And really, they were getting beat by the Bears pretty good. If Caleb doesn't throw that interception on a really stupid pass, the Bears should have won that game. You wonder what happened to the cornerback who got off the tight end to tie the game. I mean, where's that cornerback? Or is he gone? Probably, right? Again, that's bad coaching. You don't give that up. All right, time for me to make an email and send out my picks to my customers. www.tsaking.com. $25 for a week of baseball. Been really successful. Yesterday was the worst day, so that's gone. And then we're on it today. Pool later. Got the haircut. I got to color my hair. What I don't like is like here, she uses like a razor here, and I really want it cut. I want it like layered and feathered. I want to cut. I don't want to take the razor to it. So it's the one problem I have with these hairdressers. They're very poor. It's hard to find a good one, and they want to, you want it. I want it layered here, which this is not layered. This is cut short. So I'll have to find a new hairdresser. This one, she's a bubble. I said, "Did you buy silver yet?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "You're too stupid to talk to," right? People that don't listen to me about buying gold and silver and don't understand it, even the way I explain it, it's just okay. Let's go talk to somebody else. Anyway, that's what's going on. So Mark McGwire seems to be on like Wednesdays or Tuesday, or I think it was on yesterday morning or something. So he's on different. He's not on Fridays anymore, but he should be on more. And again, these guests are terrible. So that's all you can do. You just know that the physical gold and silver is much, much higher than the paper. Understand there's two different ones. Understand the dollar's worthless. And so gold and silver will really go to the moon. And it's near the end. There's 40 trillion in debt. The dollar's gone. And it's just, they want to get you out of dollars so they can tax you on it. But I'll tell you, if you were to sell 5 ounces of gold, there's no 1099. It's 22 ounces. And silver, you could sell 500 ounces of silver. There's no 1099. It's at 1,000 ounces. So it's not even they're going to get you on tax. And it's better than putting your money in the bank and drawing $1,000 in interest and then paying tax on it. We watched gold go from 1,700 to 5,000, and you didn't pay a nickel in tax. There's no capital gains. You're not selling it. There's no interest expense. It's the beautiful thing. It's the perfect thing. So just keep on the gold and silver. Just keep buying. It's a beautiful buying opportunity. This will hit 10 grand and silver will go to 1,000. And you just know there's a huge demand for it and it's very limited, but it's priced in this paper bullshit where there's 75 million tons of paper silver to 1 million tons of physical silver. So, in the physical world, it's extremely limited, but it's being priced over here in the paper market. And it can't last much longer. So we will see. Anyway, I'll keep looking for other things to enlighten us. But again, that 10 o'clock fix is a paper fix. It's a bullshit fix. But it happened. We just know it's going to happen, but we know it's all bullshit. Well, it's for the option people and everybody to settle. And no, the market is the market. You don't settle the market. If you're selling steak for $20, you don't change the price at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, nobody's buying it, so we're going to do that. No. That's not what you do. Anyway, it's time to have some lunch, and we'll go from there. So have a great day today. Enjoy the sun if you're getting the sun. And then I'm off to the pool a little later. So have a good one. www.tsaking.com. Again, buy the baseball for a week. You can't. $25 for a week. Seriously. So have a good day. Enjoy, and take care, everybody. All right.